Thank you, Alexander, for being with us on this podcast, on the We Need to Act podcast. It is a great pleasure to have you.
It is my biggest pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. So, I wanted to start with the basics because this is a sustainability education podcast. And for those who may be unfamiliar with ecosystems and the terminology, what exactly are wetlands?
I'd like to call wetlands like the twilight the zone between land and water. So it's land that's sometimes wet, but not always. And there are wetlands like swamps, mangroves, some riversides are wetlands. So there are very different wetlands available, but they have many things in common. And what this is what I'd like to call ecosystem services, how wetlands can protect us humans. Most importantly, it's the water. They can store water like a sponge, so they can protect us from floods and from droughts, but also they can filter the water. The water that goes through a wetland is cleaner afterwards. Also, what's very important for wetlands is they're a hotspot for biodiversity, for small animals, for fishies, for everything that needs a kindergarten for animal life. They are very important. And many wetlands are very important when it comes to storing carbon. Like there is a special kind of wetland called a peatland or a bog, depends on the language, and it's the most efficient carbon stock that we have on the planet. Peatlands can store 4 times more carbon than trees can or forests can. That's why it's very important to protect those or restore those for us humans.
Well, thank you for the explanation. I'm pretty sure that many of our listeners are not familiar with the term wetlands and the importance. And as you mentioned, wetlands play a vital role in fighting climate change as they are carbon sinks. Yet they often don't get the recognition or visibility they deserve. Why is that? And why aren't we investing more in protecting them as we should, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So, for me, until got in touch with this topic at all, I didn't know anything about wetlands. Maybe I've heard something of them, but the image that we have of wetlands is always dangerous, mosquitoes, it's maybe stinky, and this is the image most of the people have. And people don't want to protect or preserve things they don't love, they don't like. And I fell in love with wetlands through my wife. So I met her on a dating platform, and on our first date, I asked her what she was doing as professionally. Us Germans, this is always the first question a German asks: "What are you doing professionally?"
Yeah.
Because I told her I'm a marketing guy in a cool agency, and I felt very hip. And she answered, she wasn't very impressed. She just answered, I'm a scientist in wetlands. And I was like, wetlands? What are you talking about? And why is that a scientific thing? And so our first dates was visiting wetlands all over Europe, for me to understand why she's so enthusiastic about it. And I think this is the issue. Most of us either don't know anything about wetlands, and if they have heard of a swamp or a peatland, they think it's a bad place. So it's very important for them to understand how precious and beautiful wetlands can be.
Well, that's a great story. How you met and how you got interested in wetlands and passionate about it. Love it. And do you also have crocodiles in wetlands?
You do. You do. For our work, we did an expedition to the most important wetlands we have on Earth. And one of them was, for example, in the Okefenokee Swamp in the US. It's just very close to the Everglades. Many people talk about the Everglades.
Yeah, yeah. Because of some accidents. Because at the beginning, I used to be a flight
Ah, yeah,
attendant, my first job, and used to study all the accidents, aviation accidents, and there was one in
yeah.
the Everglades.
Yeah, and with a lost plane in the swamp.
Yeah.
Yes, it's another bad example of a bad image of wetlands. But in this Okefenokee swamp, we had to collect water samples, so we rented a canoe, and there were like 15,000 alligators around you. The problem is, first of all, they're not dangerous. If you don't do anything, they will not attack you, and you're not going to touch or attack an alligator. I hope.
Yeah, of course.
But at the same time, this swamp water is very black. you don't see anything, so you don't look through the water, and you're just afraid of things that you cannot see. So they're surrounding you, and yeah, they're alligators, and there are also wetlands with crocodiles, which is a different species, but it's very hard to distinguish as a newbie. But yeah, they are existing.
Yeah, that's super cool, interesting. And you are one of the founders of the Mission to March. Can you tell us more about the project and what inspired its creation?
Absolutely. So when I met my wife Annie, she was frustrated as a scientist
Mhm.
because the scientists know for many years and decades how important it is to protect wetlands, and have studies, they have conferences, and they talk about it every day, but the general public doesn't know about it, including me at that point. And I was like, maybe it needs a film about it, because most of us who enjoy watching movies and films and also documentaries. And then I asked her, is there a nice documentary about wetlands? She was like, I'm not sure, I'm not aware of any. And then I was like, okay, why don't we create our own film on wetlands? Because I don't know anything about it. You like it and you know a lot. You can talk about it, and I can try to shoot a film. And this is how the mission to Marsh started. So we traveled to the most important wetlands. I had my camera with me and my drone, and we did filming for almost a year. And now the film can be watched in the cinemas in Europe.
Oh, that's great. So, you did the recording.
Yes, I did everything. Everything. I did the interviews, the recording, the sound production. Even though I was not a professional filmmaker, I was self-confident, and I thought I just want to try to do this because I really like documentaries, and I also like documentaries that are created by people who are not experts, because it's more authentic, it's more honest. So when you're watching the film, you will see everything is real.
Real,
I
yeah.
mean, if you compare it to a superhero movie, there are explosions and aliens, and you know what, but you're not really connecting. But seeing a scene with Annie and me, for example, close to alligators,
Yeah.
being pregnant, you're like, ooh, this is
Oh, yeah,
that's,
she was
yes, this
pregnant
is a very
during
touching
the.
story. Yeah, that's a little spoiler. I have to apologize. It's a little spoiler. This is something that's very important to the film. During the trip, she got pregnant,
Oh,
and we were, of course, asking ourselves, what should we do now? Should we keep traveling? Should we keep traveling to South America? Because for a European pregnant lady, it's not the easiest spot in the world, especially when it comes to healthcare and the viruses and the altitude of the Andean mountains. But we decided to keep going, and now the boy is healthy, and we are very lucky that we did this expedition.
well, that was courageous of you. So brave. I don't know if I would stayed. Uh, but yeah, that was like really about the cause,
Right.
and you really believe the purpose and what you were doing. So I'm really happy you did because we now are able to see the film. And where can we is will it be available on streaming platforms?
Yes, so right now we're doing the film tour across Europe, showing the film in cinemas, because it's very important for us to show the film and also talk about it. So every show has a panel discussion. We always invite experts from other organizations, and we're doing this for this whole year 2025. But by the end of the year, we are planning to find a streaming platform to show the film. But what I can say already, on September 1st, we will have a streaming event. So on September 1st, everybody from all over the world can watch the film together online. We will share the link soon. So once it's ready, of course, we'll like to share with you and your community. And then we will also have like an online panel discussion. And so every person who cannot come to Berlin, for example, in Germany, can enjoy the movie with us.
And yeah, I was thinking if you will have any, if you will have the film here in Portugal for us to see, or how do
Yeah.
can people invite you to their countries?
Yes, absolutely. So on the website of the film, we have a small form, and cinemas and events can invite us, which is very nice, which worked very well. For example, we did show the film already in the European Parliament in Brussels. We did show it in Paris in the Climate House. We showed it in Geneva in Switzerland. And this is what the film is for. We wanted to have something where people can, or organizations can, easily invite us over, and it's the best reason to come to Portugal.
Great. And do you have support?
Yes. No, absolutely. From the beginning, we were very lucky. We applied for a grant from the brand Patagonia. Maybe you know it. And they supported us with creating the film. They paid for the camera and the drones and everything. At the same time, we found a foundation who helped us finalizing the film. And also for the film tour, we have a big sponsor. They're called Hellmann. They're a German logistics company, and they have connections everywhere. So when we have to ship our tour bus, for example, they can help us a lot. And this is something that's very important to our mission, not to only talk about the restoration of wetlands, but also give companies and people the opportunity to join our mission and to support our mission so we can reach out to more people.
And what's the feedback? I'm curious. People watched.
That's a very nice question, because I'm still scared of showing the film. Right,
Really?
every single time before the film starts,
Like
I'm
imposter syndrome, is that?
absolutely, yes. That's it. You know the name. It's the imposter syndrome, because I'm not a filmmaker, and I'm always like, oh, now they will find out that the film's actually shit, but they only liked it because, I don't know, because we did good marketing. But in the end, people after the movie, they come to us and they thank us for our work. They thank us for the honest story, because, as I said, the movie is not just a scientific documentary. It's our personal life. It's a view into our work, and I think people appreciate that. And because they recommend the film, this is why we have so many events, I think they also kind of like it in the end.
Yeah, I think that's a good perspective. Shifting the narratives, we
Mm.
need to do that instead
Mhm.
of focusing on data.
Mhm.
And like a few weeks ago, I watched the Pangolin on Netflix, you know,
You did.
that
Ah.
documentary. And it's a different angle in terms of how do you tell a story because it's focused on Pangolin's journey
Mm.
and how he got saved by, of course, humans are always the saviors instead of being portrayed as the, you
Uh-huh.
know, there's always that part of. But actually, I felt connected with that small animal, right? Because
Mm.
it was like personified,
Mm.
you know. So it was a different perspective. And I think it's always good to show thing what is happening, the challenges we face in a different angle. And as you said, you did the film showing part of your reality, part of your work, and your personal life too. So that's a great thing. So what's next in terms of after the film?
Mhm.
What comes next to Mission to Mars? Yeah.
Yeah, in the end, we are doing three things. The first thing is the communication part, including the film, but we're also writing a book because there are many things that happened on our tour that we were not able to record, that will end up in a book in the German-speaking countries first, but who knows? We have many keynotes, many events that we're attending. This is the whole communication pillar. But the second part about our mission, which is very dear to me, is restoration projects that we're having. So right now we have two projects in Germany where we are actually or on site restoring wetlands. And with the film, we are asking for our other organizations to submit wetlands that need our help because we're able to raise 100,000 euros in funding that we can now invest. And we have a form for that on our website. So if somebody's listening right now who is from Europe and knows a wetland that needs financial help or even marketing help, they can submit the wetland and we will check it out scientifically and then invest some of our money to check if we can help with the restoration process. And that's very dear to me because there you can see that all your efforts pay out. You can see that the nature is recovering. You can see that the water is coming back and the animals are coming back. And that's something that makes me very happy. And the third and last thing that Mission to Marsh is doing is research scientifically, but also on a technological side. So right now we are developing our own sensors in order to track wetland restoration, how quickly they recover, but also the ecosystem services, because it's very important for us to understand what can a wetland do for us. How much water can be stored, how much water can be filtered, how much carbon can be stored. And this is, we want to have numbers for that, and this is why we are developing our own sensors that we are also installing right now in order to have this technological leap forward in order to improve and maybe even to speed up the whole restoration process of wetlands globally.
Ooh, that's so inspiring. Thank you so much for the work you are doing, you and your wife, and all the people working with you. I'm pretty sure you have a great network. And for the ones, or for the people that are listening to this podcast and want to apply, please do. And because we want to support the wetlands. And to close this episode, what final message would you like to share with our community, with our listeners?
I would like to invite them to Google a wetland close by that they can check out, because many of us are not aware how beautiful they can be. And we always like to say we're only protecting what we love, but we can only love what we know. So get out there, get to know the wetland, and try to immerse yourself in this nature. And maybe you want to support our mission in protecting wetlands.
Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure to have you. A great conversation. I got inspired to to know more about wetlands.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.